Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Dobson777a here. Well, I hope everybody's been having a great week. It's been a really interesting week. We had a really cold start to the week and then it's warmed up. I was outside a lot today, kind of vacuuming up the leaves, excuse me, in the driveway and in the yard. And there's really wasn't much to mow, but it just kind of made everything look good, blowing off the walkways and picking some of the last of my peppers. I think the peppers are going to be pulled out tomorrow. It's been really interesting watching this whole election stuff unfold, and it's not over yet. Remember, the media does not choose the president, so nothing has been determined yet. They're trying to crown him and everything right now, but we'll wait and see. It sounds like some stuff's coming down the pipe. Still contested. I have a couple things that I want to kind of go through first while we're waiting for everybody to gather. Hey, Edgewater Heating and Josh Matthews. So a couple things I want to start with is I want you to, and I know this is hard sometimes. I just had 5 years of hell. I went through 5 years of hell, and I'm still kind of in the middle of something right now, but I feel like I'm above it. I've talked about how you can operate your life more like a general and get above the things and not get down into the weeds. So the first thing I want to talk about is I've always been a very positive person. So I want you to think about being positive first and foremost. Don't worry about what happened in the past. Hey, DW, E&M. Think about being positive, because being positive is something that will make you it's better for your body, period. We're not designed to be sourpusses. So the first lesson in life is to constantly be positive. And it's just one of those things that will, one, help you sleep better. Think about what's in front of you, not what's behind you. And you got to knock down the barriers. And when you start knocking them down, you'll start seeing the path forward, and things go really well. So think about being positive. Do not anybody ever remember Gumball Rally? There was a life lesson in that. There was this one Italian driver, and he got inside his car. I can't remember what it was. I'm going to say it's a little MG or something. And, he was teaching somebody else about, driving. And he says, the first rule of Italian driving, and he grabs a rearview mirror and throws it out the back of the car, is what's behind you doesn't matter. And I think that applies exactly what I'm talking about here. Do not worry about what's happened in the past. Work towards the future. Think about everything that is going on in your life and control only those things that you can control. Let the other stuff kind of fall where they may. But man, I didn't even shave today. Sorry about that, folks. Oh well. Yeah, I was kind of working outside today, so I didn't get all prettied up. The other thing is, and this is another lesson. When I was a teenager, I was a pretty good chess player, and there were a lot of people in the neighborhood that were constantly challenging me. And I remember there was this one older adult that challenged me, and I thought, wow, this is good. I'm kind of moving up, and I went to play chess. And they'd kind of play out by the tennis courts and stuff. They'd have tables set up like you see in a lot of these parks. But in any event, I was really thinking hard about this game when we were playing, and it turned out I thought this guy was a really good chess player, and I was overanalyzing, and he almost won until I realized he had no clue what he was doing. And so there's another lesson there. Again, you have to kind of just play your game. You don't worry so much about the other person or their capabilities, because 9 times out of 10, especially as you move along, you get this white stuff in my hair you see here. By the way, the Bible calls this a crown of glory when you get gray hair. When you start getting this, you realize all of a sudden you're going to be like the master. And don't try to play down at the other people's level. Let them play and do their stupid mistakes and just take advantage of when they happen. Don't overanalyze, because you're going to screw up. And I almost lost the game, and I was just amazed at how I really thought this guy was a good player. And I was just thinking that I was going to learn some from this, when in fact there was nothing to learn from him. So life is a lot like chess, and some of the things that I'm going through right now, I realize that you're playing with amateurs, and you have to kind of let them make their mistakes. You can't help them. Chess is like war. You're The goal is to win. The goal is to destroy the other side. You're going to take over basically their country by destroying their army. And that's the way you play life. It's not checkers. It's chess is much more complicated. So I want you to think about that as well. Lastly, I'm giving you some life lessons that you constantly have to relearn. You have to constantly remember. So I'm going to throw 3 things in tonight before I get into the really interesting stuff. Lastly is don't go through life without a budget. Financially, life is really about trying to live within your means as you can. And I know sometimes things get tough and you're going to have to borrow a bunch of money to kind of get through a tough spot, but make sure that you have a plan of how you're going to get through it. So budgeting is critical, and it's just a simple thing. It's like how much stuff is coming in versus how much is going out. And then if you start noticing that things are getting really tight, you got to start cutting things you don't need, get rid of them, and try to, make that budget last a little longer. Eat at home. I'm gonna tell you right now, when you eat at home, you can eat it way better than if you can eat out anyways. And you can feed a hell of a lot of people for the same amount. I still remember we used to take like 40 kids from the church, it was like give moms a break weekend, and so the guys would take all these kids out and we go camping for a long weekend. And I was a cook. I actually had like a chuck wagon, and I'd go buy all the food. And I'm telling you, we ate good. And we basically fed everybody for $1 a person per meal. And I mean, even on Thanksgiving, we had turkey, we had dressing, we had the salads, we had rolls, we had everything. We cooked it out there in a campsite. So you're going to eat way better. And I know time's an issue, but I'm telling you, money is not free. So, look at your budget and then figure out ways to stretch things. So I've kind of thrown a lot of things in here at the beginning. But I also wanted to, the last thing, talk about for members. I put a screenshot of our improved portfolio, what it's done year to date, and we are killing it. I'm doing this off the top of my head. I should have printed it out, but it was something like 48% return year to date. And we had a couple positions. One of them's 150%, another one is 212%, I think. Let me flip over here. I think I still have it up. No, 216%. The other one was 152%. We have 69%. We have 63%, 45, 46. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them in here, but we're up 48% year to date on a very simple portfolio. I mean, I think I got less than 20 positions in here, and it's overloaded with the ETFs to kind of give it some balance. So I hope you're paying attention, and I hope you've taken advantage of this year, because this has been another phenomenal year. Some of the positions I've had a little bit longer than what I recommended for you guys, and I'm actually doing better. Like VNNHF is one of them. I think I'm up over 200% on my position. And some of you are doing even better than that, because I know you bought one of the dips where I was already all in. So anyways, it's been an incredible year. And, by the way, the end of the year, the last couple of years, we have gone another major jump. So get ready. We may get another major jump. And let's see. I think I closed down my gold and silver, but I think gold was like 1650. What was it? Let me bring it up. Oh, I'm sorry, 1950 for gold. Almost gave you a heart attack, I know. And silver is now 2561. So we had a major jump. We're still below the September highs, but we're up back in that range again. So we're doing very well. Doing very well. Yeah, I had a beard until 2007. And the reason why, all this hair used to be kind of like a very dark brown, and the beard kind of starts turning gray first. And I would go in there and you could kind of cut out the individual gray hairs that were coming in. And by 2007, which I was 47, it was getting to be a little too many gray, and I didn't want to color my beard. And so the beard went away. But now I've noticed that I'm just basically going gray everywhere now. But I got a head of hair. So we used to call this St. Pete blonde when I lived in St. Petersburg, Florida, St. Pete blonde. So anyways, we got 22 people. What are you guys up to? Just remember, it ain't over till it's over. And remember also, they flipped a bunch of Senate seats and Congress seats to Republican. And so it doesn't matter who gets into office, they're going to lock it all down again. So nothing's going to get done. You want to buy a Tesla? I heard they had Tesla, what was it? Tequila for $250 a bottle. I don't know what the heck he's getting into tequila for, but by the way, this is just grape juice. Before the thing started, I wanted something sweet, but not like a cola. I didn't want the caffeine and everything, so I had some grape juice in the cabinet, which actually just tastes marvelous. I love that Welch's, Concord. I don't know what you guys drink, but I'm like a little kid. I still love that grape juice. It's fantastic. Sam's Club has a really good deal for like get 2 of them for like what do you pay for one in the grocery store. Remember, it almost doesn't matter who's elected right now for the precious metals because the dollar is toast, folks. That's the bottom line. So we're still on the glide path. Everything is doing great. It is. It's grape juice. I drink wine occasionally, but for this show, just Welch's grape juice, Concord. I'm telling you what, that tastes good. Calvin State is here. It's kind of weird. We had such cold weather for like a week, and I was cranking up the wood stove, and then all of a sudden now we're back to AC again. It was hot. We had the wicked winds up here. Terrible winds. I actually lost a couple more trees in my rental properties. Cost me $1,000 to get the trees taken down. They were leaning. Luckily, they didn't hit the house or anything. They were about ready to go. So I had to have some tree guys go knock them down before they caused any damage. But the ground had been saturated, and then we had the winds, and down they go, roots and all. We had a mess all around this area. Power lines down. We lost power for a day and a half, and I got to use my batteries, use the generator, charge it up before the power came back up again, but also had the solar going. So it was kind of interesting. I got to go through the whole process. So it's nice to kind of get these little test things. But you know what? Freezers were working. I had hot water because I got a propane water heater. Life was good here. It was almost like nothing happened. I still had microwaves working, had lights, you name it. Mr. Action One is in the house. So anyways, make sure you are positive, think positive. It's important for your health. Make sure you don't overanalyze. And then I still say budgeting is critically important. Try to get ahead. Don't try to spend everything you got. And sometimes you got to tighten your belt for a period of time until God releases what he is going to reward you with. It always comes back to you. So keep doing the right things. I've had to help quite a few of my tenants out this year, and it's coming back to bless me over and over again, just being patient with them, helping them through their difficult times. And it's working out well. So I've got like almost like friends for life with tenants. I know you always want to keep like a business relationship, but man, these folks, they absolutely love me. So I try to nurture relationships wherever I can. You never know where it's going to pay you back down the road. Yeah, in my area, we don't have Georgia Power. We have Jackson EMC. Jackson EMC seems to be sucking up a lot of the power in these areas. Even out of all the properties that I own, they're all Jackson EMC except for one is Georgia Power, and it's strange in that area why it's Georgia Power. It's just the way it worked out. There might be a map somewhere that shows how these things are set up, but Jackson EMC is a big company in Georgia. So what do you think? I'm waiting for gold to get back up to 2,000. I bet you we'll hit 2,000 by the end of the year again. You watch. It's going to be one of those things that jumps over just before the beginning of the year. I did the crushed ice. That really seems to help too because it chills it down super fast. I pulled the grape juice out of the refrigerator. I'm sorry, out of the cabinet. So it was really warm. So I used the crushed ice. That helped a lot. I should have taken my little, what was that? I've got one of those immersion blender things. I could have made like a slushy. That would have been really good. Cobb EMC. I haven't heard of Cobb EMC. Jesse James. You got a couple of revolvers? So, Lanko Bear. Lanko says Liar Gantz suggests to have 24 months of living expenses in gold bullion. Do you think this is a good amount, too much, or not enough? All right, so look, I would tell you that you should have liquid, so some kind of US dollar bills, maybe 6 months of expenses. Liquid, which means it's in a checking account, it's in a savings account or something. And I want you to make sure that you have US dollars available. Now, as far as gold, silver, whatever, precious metals, we'll say in general, people will tell you the number should be like 15 to 20% of your net worth, not necessarily 4 months of living expenses. So I look at it that way. I think you should have some kind of liquid funds for emergencies, to pay bills in case you get laid off. And I've kind of made it towards the end of life here and I never got laid off, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I would have been destroyed when I was first started my family. We didn't have nothing. We were scraping nickels together to go buy chicken leg quarters to eat and stuff. So I'm going to tell you right now, looking back, I don't know that I could have done anything different, but I learned later in life to make sure that you had, I call it like several buckets of money that, so there are different accounts and things that you could draw upon. So I'd have what I called kind of like emergency expenses, and I've had emergency expenses, and then maybe even a third level that I could get to if I needed to, but rarely would I have to get down to the third level. So I would like you to think about how to do that, because if all hell breaks loose, cash is going to be king first. This precious metal stuff is going to be later. Everybody's still going to know what cash is. There's only a very few percentage of people even know what these precious metals are and how to evaluate them and everything else. So that's going to be kind of like after the dust settles. So you better have your dollar bills readily available to still buy stuff. And I don't mean electronic, like debit cards and credit cards and stuff like that. Now I'm talking about where you can actually get some cash. Make sure you keep some on hand at home or whatever. I always try to keep a couple $100 in my wallet if I can, because you know how many times I've gone to a stinking restaurant, like a hamburger joint, and they're cash only. There's been a couple times I was like, damn, all I got is money to pay for the drinks. Good thing we didn't order the meal yet. So I've had to walk out and go find an ATM because there's still a lot of people with cash, and you need to think about that. So anyways, that's my thoughts. Oh, Elward Blues is here. DW has APS in Arizona. Something just popped up in my way here. My last electric bill was $80. So that's pretty good. This is a pretty big house too, but I was running my wood stove, and I run the AC fan continuously when I'm doing the wood stoves to circulate the heat throughout the whole house. Yeah, everything is doing great in the Dobson household. I've been very happy lately. I've been doing really well. I got a lot of stuff in front of me that I'm knocking out now. So I'm actually starting to feel like I'm getting ahead again. And we'll see how things work out. But there's some things that are going to take a couple months still to rattle through. You should see kind of things moving back to normal the beginning of the year is my expectation. It's hard to say on some of this stuff. Oh man. There's a lot of things I can't talk about, but there'll be a big story later when we get through this. Yeah, I'm a happy guy. Like I said, think positive. I've always been a positive person. It served me well. Probably if I reiterate about, I think I talked about it last week. If you can try not to get yourself drugged down into the fray, you'll do a lot better. If you can sit there, make sure if you can, get the right people to manage things for you, and then all you got to do is oversee it. Make sure things are going the right direction. It works a lot better. I did see an article, by the way, which is interesting. All you guys know that I do a lot of canning. Apparently, there's a major shortage of canning stuff, like the mason jars and things. And this is unsubstantiated. I think I will try to, do some research and see if it's really a shortage. But I try to keep a couple hundred jars, available for canning stuff. But I'm also rotating through the stuff that I had already canned, which I had several hundred things canned. So I've been eating the heck out of the stuff that I already cooked, and it's ready to start filling back up again. I need to kind of do a sorting of everything. Mind you, leadership in the Senate by throwing out some more Democrats, and then they've also done the same thing in the Congress. So even if we had a Democratic president, you would actually not be able to get anything done because it's all run by Republicans. So they've kind of locked it down. So it's kind of interesting how this is working out. But right now, I've seen a lot of data that it looks like they're finding all of these problems with the computers, like over tabulating on the Democratic side than what it should be. And they're trying to get through this. So it may be a while before you actually see this election certified. And you might see a totally different thing. So I would not want to, believe what the media are saying right now, because they don't elect the presidents. The different states and districts and everybody, they all do that. So we got to wait and see how this works. Okay, so Elwood's confirming that some of these things, you should go to like Tractor Supply, places like that. That's where I've been able to find it. But I mean, I stock up all this stuff, months in advance before I need them. So I've got a significant inventory. Oh, okay. Thanks, Wade. That's a good saying. The most important decision you make is to be in a good mood. Voltaire. I agree. it affects your health. If you don't, if you do not think positively, if you're in a bad mood, it's going to affect your health. Yeah, sometimes you can find, I'll tell you another place that I found some canning stuff is on this Facebook marketplace. Sometimes like grandma dies and the kids don't know what to do with some of this stuff. They put it on Facebook marketplace, and I picked up a bunch of these mason jars before. Well, grape juice is gone. I can just about bet you, I could be wrong. I saw somebody comment that they said that they did some interesting things with the ballots. They put some watermarks and things like that on there. And so when they go through and go to certify and they find that, certain areas have a whole bunch of ballots that don't have these watermarks, they're going to know that there's some corruption. That stuff's going to be thrown out. I know there's also some things that, like the recounts aren't being done with monitors. They didn't allow the monitors in there. And so this is going to be problematic. So this is all going to be done all over again. I guarantee you. They're going to be tossing out a bunch of stuff. And remember, a whole bunch of ballots came in after the date of the election, and those are all being counted separately and may not be allowed to be accepted. Because again, I mean, there's deadlines in life. If you didn't make it, you didn't make it. Bartosji, I'm doing great. Everything's doing wonderful. This stuff is just noise to me. Tell you the truth, I don't even watch the news anymore. I've been spending more time. Oh my God. How many of you guys ever watch Craig Ferguson? There are a whole bunch of YouTube videos on him. That guy cracks me up. And some of this stuff is like 10 years ago now. I don't know what happened. It showed up on my feed a couple months ago, and I've just been loving watching him and the robot. They are just hilarious. So I've been watching a lot of Scrubs on YouTube and other things. I just love, I love comedy. Okay, I'm going to do a video because I went to the Homeland Security and I did a little research the other day just on my phone, which isn't the greatest way to do it, but there's a whole bunch of information about the election security on that page. And I started going through it, but it was very technical. So I've got to spend way more time than what I had available. But I got a feeling a lot of this is going to come out later. I don't think people knew what they were getting into, and this may have been a trap. I hope so. By the way, I'm hearing that there is a tremendous bullet shortage as well. Bullets are nowhere to be found, even at the gun ranges. They say if you want to come use a gun range, bring your own ammo. So I haven't checked locally here whether that's the case, but I've talked to a couple of folks that are in the know locally, and they're saying, yep, we got the problem here too. So that's kind of curious. This reminds me of way back during the Obama admin. There was a big ammo shortage, and ammo was all jacked up. Nevada's wiped out. Yeah, I don't know. I need to bring up my spreadsheet and update it, but I think I told this story before. I was keeping track of ammo prices during the Obama admin, and I was comparing it to gold and silver, and ammo prices were increasing much faster than gold and silver was. And I was showing my friends this, and I said, maybe we should be investing in lead. It looks like it's doing much better, but it was amazing how the price of ammo and even weapons at that time were going up tremendously. Yeah, I remember that. It was Homeland Security was buying it up. probably for today. I bought all this reloading equipment probably over a year ago, and I have not even set it up. I need to get that set up, but I probably wouldn't even be able to buy the supplies right now. I really want to get a progressive setup to do it right, but it's like, dang, everything just takes so long. It takes a dedication to learn something new like that. Yeah, Texas is, I forget who that governor was, brought in all of these damn like New Yorkers and Californians over to bring business into Texas, and they freaking corrupted the whole state when they did that. Yeah, primers, got to have primers. There's all kinds of stuff you got to have when you reload. It's going to take a while to sort through this. I bet you won't even know who's elected till January. We'll see how long it takes them to go through this. It could take a long time. So he said you had to buy 50 rounds of 9mm ammo if you shot him at the range. So you walked out with 45 rounds. Wow. $1 a piece roughly for 5.56 ammo. That's pretty expensive. Dang, can you believe we already gone through 30 minutes? That went really fast. We got 40 people on. We're doing great. Did anybody that's a member notice the chart that I put out before the live stream? So here's a comment from Go All In at 100%. Good evening, Dobson. I have stock in Georgia Power. What's the most important concern to keep an eye on? It's $25.60 per share now. It appears ammo is getting tougher to get. Yep. I'll tell you what, I have to go do some research on Georgia Power. I have several tools that allow me to evaluate it, but utility stocks are usually, remember the pyramid that I talk about like this? And it starts on the bottom, which is where you have the lowest volatility stuff. And as you get towards the top, you have the higher volatility, which means as you get towards the top, you're buying less and less of the higher volatility. Utility companies are the base of your pyramid. So they are fantastic to own. It just so happens that I have real estate as part of my base of my pyramid, but utility companies fall into that same category. It's a very low volatility. They're kind of are just giving you dividends year in, year out, and they're very heavily regulated, and so they're not going to go up or down significantly. So it's a fantastic thing to have in the base of your pyramid. It is what I would always recommend. If you have lots of money, you better have some of those dividend type things. I have, we're not ready yet to go be buying like dividend stocks, but when we rotate out of gold when it's overvalued, I already told you I'm going to be buying these blue chip world dominator type things, but utilities are also a really good thing to pick up as well. So keep that in mind. Utilities are fantastic. I would not touch them. I mean, I would, if you have them already, it's a hold, kind of like forever. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, BP and Shell, because of what's happening with oil and everything, I'd have to do a lot more work on that to try to understand what to do with oil. Oil is in a really, it's kind of in a bear market right now, and it's because of our economies. And I think it's because of we're going through the reset. So this could be something that we have. Oil stocks could be depressed for, maybe this whole decade. It's hard to say. I know you're getting dividends. If you can buy the stock when it's down, that's the best time to buy it. But where's the bottom? I think, oil stocks might be a good buy now, but I would just do a little bit. I like some of these other dividend stocks that are out there. But remember, let's say, I went all tangible right now. That's what I did. So I've got real estate, precious metals, and um, I mean, that's basically it, and I've, did solar, did everything for the house. So I got my gardens. I consider all that tangible so I can feed myself. All the rest of this stuff, you got to think about. There's more risk. If people can't pay bills, what's going to happen to some of these other stocks? You can't buy gas. You can't buy food. It's going to be tough. Well, Cabela's, the shelves are empty for ammo there. We've got a Bass Pro Shops nearby, and we've been driving by that doggone thing. I don't know how many times I drive by that thing in the last month or so, doctor's visits and stuff. And it seems like that used to be always one of the trips I'd stop by. I got to put it back on the list. I love going to Bass Pro Shops. So, Bartos, it's kind of funny. I did a lot of real estate videos last year and the year before, and people were all over me saying, "You're going to get killed. You don't know what you're talking about." But you got to remember, real estate is huge. It turns out right now, what's getting decimated is the commercial real estate. First it was like the malls and everything, and now you're seeing like these businesses. Everybody's working from home. They don't need all the big office buildings. And so then you have the restaurants and support businesses all being affected. But all of my properties are out here in, outside of the big cities, not in the big cities. And people are trying to get out of the big cities. So far, where I have been purchased has been immune. Now, a couple years from now, when we start going through, and remember, they haven't allowed short sales, foreclosures, evictions, any of that stuff until recently. They've started this stuff up. It'll take a long time for this stuff to rattle through. And last time it took 4 years before you saw the bottom in interest rates, and you saw out of the prices bottomed out and all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the more rural areas are probably going to be somewhat immune this time, where last time they were hit the worst. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to play out yet, but so far rents are holding up very well, and this has actually been an area that is doing very well for real estate prices. So right now it's kind of like I'm gonna tell you, God has always helped me. Why I do what I do, I just claim that God is leading me. I don't always claim to be this smart, but it always seems like it's working the way it needs to. So I hope I answered the question. Investing is a very difficult thing. I always recommend don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you can spread it around. Okay, so Lenko Bear is asking about rare earth stocks. That is another thing that I've wanted to talk about. Do you remember Trump tasked what organization was it? He tasked one of the organizations to go focus on rare earths and secure them for the United States. And it's escaping me right now, probably because it's late at night. But I would be following what our government is doing to secure rare earths, because they're going to be paying certain companies to do this for them, for military purposes, to make sure we have what we need, or not necessarily even for military, for our business, our U.S. businesses. So there's a group. Boy, I wish I could remember who it is. I'm waiting for somebody to type it in here, but I think I've talked about it before. We have Trump has tasked one of the U.S. government agencies to go secure our rare earth metals. So there might be some opportunities there. Yeah, so to tell you the truth, I'm not a big tech kind of stock purchaser. I'm playing this very, very, very safe right now. I believe we're going to have an opportunity. Um, I'm still thinking it's going to be 8 to 10 years from now, where we're going to be rotating out of our precious metals that probably have gone up 15 times, and likely the stocks only may have gone up, say, 5 times over that period. So we're going to rotate out of something that's tremendously overvalued into things that are undervalued, and we're going to do a great rotation. So at this point, I'm not looking at any of those types of things to buy Apple or anything else. I think it's more I'm going to wait because I think we're going to have some opportunities. And is Apple going to be one of those blue chip dividend global dominator companies? Maybe. But I've got this extensive list that I've thrown up periodically for you. And maybe it's time to do it again because I want to remind you that it is it's going to be one of these things that you don't have to do this overnight. Remember, gold is going to hold up much longer than silver. You're going to see silver collapsing, and that'll give you your sign for gold that we need to start preparing. But when we start going parabolic on silver, I'm already going to be selling, and I'm going to show you some of this stuff. But and that may be some of our silver miners and everything else as well. So gold is going to hang on much longer, like an extra year or more, and we don't have to be in a hurry, and we'll start rotating. And then you ride the wave for probably 20 years. The stocks are going to do well for 20 years, and then it'll be time to start looking at precious metals again. Oh, thank you, DW. Rare Earth Cooperative Act. But what was the agency that was assigned? I can't remember the agency. It's not who you would think it would be, but somebody was assigned. And that's what I would be following very carefully because that's going to be the opportunity for us. And I will tell you, I forgot to mention SBSW, Sabine-Stillwater. That thing is up like 63% year to date. And that was another one that I had recommended last year. And that sucker is going crazy. Now that Stillwater was an American company that Sabine bought. And they are in all of the platinum, palladium, rhodium. So they call it PGMs, but they also do gold mining and everything. So these are the rare metals that are needed in industry, and they're probably going to be expanding into some of the other areas as well. So right now, SBSW is already a certain percentage of American rare earth, and we already own it, and we've owned it since, somebody remember, middle of last year, I can't remember. So we've already owned it for more than a year. I haven't looked at the dividends yet for these. I should start tracking. We should start seeing significant dividends kicking up probably once we get over $2,000. But yeah, the royalties are doing. Oh yeah, what was that? WPM was up 69% year to date. Anybody notice that? Franco-Nevada is still up like 48% or something. I'm doing this off the top of my head. I may be off a little bit. Let's see. Franco-Nevada, 46%. Wheat and precious metals, 69%. That's unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Year to date. Are you guys paying attention? We are killing it. Most people are happy to get 15% returns. We're 48%. With some of these things, 200% right now we've gotten. So some of you guys that really are spicing up your portfolio, you're killing it. I've always played kind of down the middle. I'm not a gambler. I'm trying to do what do you want to call it? We'll call it like a more sophisticated investing where I'm trying to get the middle of the road. I'm not trying to get 200% returns. I'm happy with 50%. That's beautiful. It's amazing. I got some of my stocks are 200%, but my overall average is 50%. Up hunting tomorrow, Mr. Action. I was out in the garden today pulling a whole bunch of Tabasco peppers because all my peppers are final ending now. I noticed everything. We've had a couple freeze. In fact, I pulled sweet potatoes out of the ground today too. I got to get some pictures of that. I got to go through that. It's kind of funny. You kind of go through and you pull up, and then you go back the next day and you pull up almost the same amount that you missed the first time. Long term, I would say miners are still potentially an 8 to 10 year hold, but a lot can change. So we're just watching. Remember, I told you, like when I was a tennis player, they said keep your feet moving. So you sit there, you're kind of jumping in place because it allows you to adjust very quickly. So that's what we're doing. We're kind of watching carefully, but I think this is a pretty safe play right now. Yeah, Barrick was bought by what's Charlie Munger and the other guy? Well, the last reset in 1970 to 1980. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen here. Yeah, we're at 46 minutes. I was only going to do a 30-minute show. Yeah, Buffett, thank you. I was watching an interview with Charlie Munger. He's an interesting, I think I'm saying his name right. He's Buffett's cohort, but those guys are interesting to listen to, the interviews. They tell it straight up. They don't try to sugarcoat anything. Really nice guys. I would have loved to have tutored under them. Well, folks, we've gone a long time. I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.